All right, you magnificent bastards. Strap yourselves in for a deep dive into the world of comedic legend Albert Brooks. We're going to rip through Wikipedia and some other shit, unearth the juicy bits about this neurotic genius, you know?
He's the king of self-obsessed humor and his impact on comedy. Huge, man.
Right, huge. Yeah.
We're talking about the guy who, at 19, ditched the name Albert Einstein because it made him sound, well, too damn smart. Can you believe that shit?
Fucking hilarious. Can you imagine this guy, born Albert Einstein, dropping out of Carnegie Mellon to tell jokes? What a badass.
He went to Beverly Hills High with Richard Dreyfuss and Rob Reiner. I mean, what the fuck was going on in those classrooms? It must have been a breeding ground for comedic talent, you know?
Talk about a non-traditional path to success, man. Dropping out of college.
Yeah.
Hitting up talk shows like Johnny Carson's. Dude paid his dues.
Yeah, his early stand-up was unlike anything else out there. This wasn't your grandpa's knock-knock joke routine. This was neurotic, self-aware humor that spoke to a whole generation of comedians tired of the same old bullshit.
Right. His stand-up albums, Comedy Minus One and A Star Is Bought, were fucking groundbreaking. He even snagged a Grammy nomination for A Star Is Bought.
Comedy Minus One is a masterpiece of deadpan humor. Imagine finding the funny in the mundane, like agonizing over choosing the right greeting card. Brooks nails that.
Yeah, it's the delivery, right?
Yeah, saying the most outrageous shit with a straight face, that's deadpan.
And the dude just dropped the mic on stand-up after those albums to focus on filmmaking. Talk about leaving him wanting more. But let's cut the crap and get to the movies, because that's where Brooks really shines. Writer, director, star. The triple threat, baby.
Real Life, his first film, was a mockumentary that predicted the whole reality TV craze. Before it even existed, think about that. He was making fun of the whole fly-on-the-wall bullshit back in 1979. Talk about ahead of his time.
He was basically saying, look at these asshats on camera.
Yeah.
Way before it became a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Then came Modern Romance in '81, where he plays an erotic film editor obsessed with his ex. Pure comedic gold, man.
Oh, man, the scene where he's calling her over and over again, dissecting every word of their last conversation, you know? It's relatable, but amplified to this insane degree. That's Brooks's genius, taking these everyday anxieties and blowing them out of proportion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Lost in America, his most critically acclaimed film, takes this yuppie couple who chuck their materialistic lives to hit the road in an RV.
Yeah.
You know, chasing the American dream, except it turns into a hilarious nightmare.
The scene where they lose all their money in Vegas? Painful, right. But you're also laughing your ass off because it's so well observed, so true to the human experience of fucking up royally.
Yeah. Brooks doesn't shy away from mixing humor with some seriously deep shit, like Defending Your Life from '91, where he tackles the afterlife, right? People have to justify their actions on Earth.
Yeah.
And he turns this existential crisis into a hilarious and thought-provoking comedy.
Classic Brooks. Taking a big, scary concept like the afterlife and running it through his own neurotic filter. It's amazing how he can make you think about life and death while you're busting a gut laughing.
Yeah, he's like, hey, let's talk about the meaning of life, but first let me tell you about this time I totally fucked up. And he's got this knack for finding humor in even the most fucked up situations, like in Mother, where he navigates a complicated mother-son relationship alongside Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah, Mother proves Brooks is a versatile filmmaker, you know? He can do sentimentality and humor, family drama, and still make you think, damn, that's my relationship with my mom.
For sure. But this guy wasn't just a director. Let's not forget his iconic roles in other people's films. We're talking Taxi Driver with Scorsese, where he improvised most of his dialogue.
Imagine being that comfortable and funny to improvise with Scorsese. That takes some serious comedic balls.
No doubt. Then there's his Oscar-nominated performance in Broadcast News, where he plays a neurotic TV reporter. I mean, who else could have nailed that role better?
He perfectly embodies those anxieties and pressures of the newsroom, constantly questioning everything. And then you get that killer line, wouldn't this be a great world if insecurity and desperation made us more attractive?
Huh?
Pure brilliance.
Yeah. And Out of Sight puts him alongside George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez as this shady banker and ex-con. Brooks is just so good at playing these slightly off-kilter characters, always scheming and trying to come out on top.
It's a fascinating thing watching him be both hilarious and slightly menacing. You're never quite sure what his characters are going to do next, which keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Right.
And then we've got Brooks's voice acting. This is where he becomes a goddamn legend, especially with Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. Marlin the Clownfish, that's Brooks, man.
Totally. He nails that overprotective, anxious parent thing.
Yeah.
But in a way that's hilarious and heartwarming. It's like he channeled every neurotic parent's worst nightmare and made it lovable.
Seriously, who else could make a neurotic clownfish relatable? Brooks brings this depth to the character, this vulnerability that just makes you root for him.
Yeah. And we can't forget his appearances on The Simpsons. I mean, Hank Scorpio, the supervillain from You Only Move Twice, good morning, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's pure comedic gold.
It's one of the most quoted episodes for a reason. Brooks's delivery, the absurdity of the character. It's like he took everything over the top and made it work brilliantly.
Absolutely. But Brooks doesn't stop there. The guy even wrote a novel, 2030, The Real Story of What Happens to America. It's a darkly comedic look at the future, taking current trends and warping them into this absurd, hilarious mess.
It's like he's saying, if we keep going down this road, here's what we have to look forward to. It's funny, but it also makes you think, shit, are we really heading in this direction?
Then you've got Drive, where he plays the villain Bernie Rose. This isn't your typical comedic Brooks role. This is dark, menacing, and honestly, pretty terrifying.
He shows this whole other side to his range. It's like he tapped into something primal, something unsettling, and it works so well you see him and you know this guy's bad news.
Oh, yeah. And it's not just Drive. He voices Tiberius, the grumpy hawk, in The Secret Life of Pets. The dude's everywhere, man, and he's killing it in every role.
What's amazing is his ability to disappear into these roles, whether it's a clownfish, a supervillain, or a straight-up terrifying mob boss. He's a chameleon, man.
Yeah. And you know what's fucked up? The Academy never gave him an Oscar, not even for Drive.
I know, right? It's insane. He even tweeted about it. And to the Academy, you don't like me, you really don't like me. Classic Brooks. Even when he's getting snubbed, he finds a way to make a joke about it.
It's like he's saying, fuck you, I don't need your validation, I'm Albert fucking Brooks.
Haha, yeah. But seriously, the fact that he hasn't won an Oscar is kind of mind-boggling. His range, his talent, his influence, it's undeniable.
Yeah, for sure. But hey, maybe that's part of his appeal, right? He's the underdog, the guy who's always slightly outside the mainstream.
That's what makes him so unique. He's not trying to please everyone. He's doing his own thing, and he's doing it brilliantly.
All right, let's rewind a bit and talk about his early days on talk shows, especially The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Those appearances were legendary.
Yeah, back then, stand-up was all about one-liners and slapstick. But Brooks comes in with this completely different style, this neurotic, self-away humor that's so refreshing.
It was a whole new thing, man.
Oh,
He's talking about his anxieties, his insecurities, his failures, and somehow he makes it hilarious. It's like he's saying, hey, I'm a mess, and that's okay.
he wasn't afraid to be vulnerable, to expose his flaws to the world. And that's what made him so compelling. It's like he was having this internal dialogue with himself on stage. And we were all just lucky enough to be eavesdropping.
Exactly. And those early talk show appearances were crucial for his career. They exposed him to a wider audience, and they helped him develop his comedic persona.
He was honing his craft in front of millions of viewers, figuring out what worked and what didn't. It was like his comedic laboratory.
And let's be real, he influenced a whole generation of comedians with his style. Steve Martin, Martin Mull, Andy Kaufman. These guys wouldn't be who they are without Brooks paving the way.
He made it okay to be neurotic, to be awkward, to be a little bit fucked up. He showed us that there was humor to be found in our imperfections.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's dive into some of his specific films. Modern Romance is a masterpiece of neurotic comedy. I mean, his character, Robert Cole, is basically a walking anxiety attack.
He's obsessed with his ex-girlfriend, overanalyzing every interaction, driving himself crazy, trying to figure out where it all went wrong, or we've all been there, right? But Brooks takes it to this hilarious extreme.
Oh, yeah. Like the scene where he breaks into her apartment and rearranges her furniture. It's so ridiculous, but you can't help but laugh because it's so perfectly in line with his character's neurotic tendencies.
Right. And the soundtrack. Who the fuck uses You're So Vain as a love theme? It's brilliant. Adding this layer of irony and self-awareness to the whole film.
It's like he's saying, yeah, I know this is all bullshit, but I can't help myself. Modern Romance is one of those films you can watch over and over again and still find something new to laugh at.
It's a perfect blend of humor, romance, and social commentary, all wrapped up in this neurotic package that is so distinctly Brooks. And the dialogue is gold. I'm a good person, I'm just having a bad life. I mean, come on, that's a classic.
Absolutely. And then there's Lost in America, a hilarious satire of the American dream. It perfectly captures that yuppie mentality of the 80s, the obsession with material possessions, the belief that happiness can be bought, and the inevitable disillusionment when it all falls apart.
Brooks and Julie Haggerty are brilliant as David and Linda Howard, this couple who decide to check it all and hit the road in an RV, thinking they're going to find themselves. Of course, everything goes hilariously wrong.
Right. The scene where they lose all their savings in Vegas, it's gut-wrenching, but you're also dying of laughter because it's so perfectly timed, so well played.
It's Brooks' gift, man. He can make you laugh at the most inappropriate moments, even when you feel bad for the characters.
Totally. Lost in America is a film that manages to be both funny and profound. It makes you laugh, but it also makes you think about the choices you make in life and what truly matters.
It's a timeless story about the search for meaning and the pitfalls of chasing the wrong dreams.
Let's talk about Defending Your Life, which is a bit of a departure from his earlier, more straightforward comedies. It's philosophical, existential, and yet still funny as hell.
It's this wild concept where after you die, you have to defend your life in court. And your fate in the afterlife depends on how well you argue your case. Brooks plays Daniel Miller, a guy who's basically a walking mess in life.
Yeah, he's afraid of everything, indecisive, constantly second-guessing himself. And he's surrounded by these confident, successful people who seem to have lived life to the fullest.
Right. But Brooks, even in this existential crisis, finds the humor. I'm a great defender, I'm just not a great liver. I mean, that line is just perfect.
And you've got Meryl Streep as Julia, a woman Daniel meets in the afterlife who helps him see himself in a new light. Their chemistry is incredible, and they bring a lot of heart to the film.
Defending your life really makes you think about the choices you've made, the things you regret, and what you would do differently if you had a chance.
It's a reminder that it's never too late to change, to grow, to try and be a better version of yourself, even if you fuck up a lot along the way.
And it's so Brooks to take this huge, weighty topic and turn it into something that's both thought-provoking and entertaining. He's a master at finding the humor in the darkest corners of human existence.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Mother, which is both hilarious and touching as it explores a complicated mother-son relationship. Brooks stars alongside Debbie Reynolds, and their dynamic is just perfect.
They capture that love-hate relationship so many of us have with our mothers. It's full of passive-aggressive comments, unspoken expectations, and those trademark guilt trips that only moms can pull off.
The scene where John, Brooks's character, is trying to have a normal conversation with his mom while she's glued to a soap opera. It's like he's in my living room. I've lived that moment 1,000 times.
Brooks is a master of observation. He picks up on these tiny details of family dynamics and turns them into comedic gold.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But Mother isn't just about the laughs. It also explores the deeper layers of that relationship, the love and resentment, the need for approval, and the frustration that comes with never quite measuring up.
It's a film that's both funny and moving, and it resonates on multiple levels. It reminds you that even the most complicated relationships are full of love, even if it's sometimes buried under layers of bullshit.
Yeah, for sure. The Muse, on the other hand, takes on Hollywood and the creative process. It's a satire with a killer cast. Sharon Stone, Jeff Bridges, Andy McDowell, and Brooks plays Stephen Phillips, a screenwriter in a major creative slump.
Desperate for a hit, he hires a real-life muse played by Sharon Stone to inspire him. And Stone is just hilarious in this role. She's over-the-top, eccentric, full of wacky ideas and demands.
The scene where she insists on having a pink toilet installed in his bathroom. Classic Brooks.
Yeah. The film is full of these jabs at Hollywood culture. The obsession with celebrity, the superficiality, the cutthroat competition. Brooks skewers it all with his signature wit and insight.
The Muse is a funny and insightful film that'll resonate with anyone who's ever struggled with their creativity or felt lost in the labyrinth of Hollywood.
It's a reminder that inspiration can come from the most unexpected places. And sometimes you just have to embrace the chaos to find your muse.
Now let's fast forward to Looking for Comedy in the Muslim World, a controversial film that tackles cultural differences and the power of laughter.
Brooks plays a fictionalized version of himself, hired by the U.S. government to go to India and Pakistan to figure out what makes Muslims laugh. It's a bold premise, and Brooks doesn't shy away from the complexities of the issue.
Right.
He tackles stereotypes, cultural misunderstandings, and the challenges of communication with this blend of humor and sensitivity that is so distinctly Brooks.
He does it all, man.
Yeah.
The film is a series of awkward encounters, cultural clashes, and moments of genuine connection. It reminds you that even amidst conflict and misunderstanding, laughter can be a bridge.
Looking for Comedy in the Muslim World is a film that's both thought-provoking and entertaining. It's a reminder that humor can be a powerful tool for bringing people together.
Absolutely.
It's a film that's more relevant than ever in today's world, where we're constantly bombarded with news of division and conflict.
Right, so we've covered a lot of ground, but there's still so much more to say about this guy. He's a comedic force, a master of observation, a wordsmith, and a fearless satirist.
He's made us laugh, he's made us think, and he's made us question everything we thought we knew about the world.
And he's done it all with this unique voice, this blend of Neuroticism, intelligence, and sharp wit that is unmistakably Albert Brooks.
It's incredible, right?
Yeah.
Most comedians have their 15 minutes of fame and then they're gone. But Brooks has managed to stay relevant, to keep pushing boundaries, to keep finding new ways to make us laugh even when the world feels like it's going to shit.
He's like a fine wine that's been spiked with anxiety and self-doubt. It just gets more complex and interesting with time.
And he's not afraid to experiment. Stand-up, movies, a novel, voice acting, he's done it all. And he's excelled at every single one. It's a testament to his talent, his versatility, his I don't give a fuck attitude that just works.
Right. All right, before we wrap up this deep dive, I gotta ask, what's your all-time favorite Albert Brooks moment?
Fuck, that's a tough one. There are so many to choose from, but if I had to pick just one, it'd be that scene in Lost in America where David is trying to get his job back after blowing all their cash in Vegas. He goes to his old boss and basically begs for his job back. But he does it in this incredibly awkward and hilarious way.
I can't take it anymore. I'm cracking up. I'm cracking up.
Ah.
I love that scene.
The desperation, the physical comedy, it's pure gold. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion, but you can't look away because it's just so damn funny.
Okay, I got to throw one of my favorites out there. It's from Defending Your Life. That scene where Daniel is on trial in the afterlife trying to explain why he was so scared of everything. He says, I was afraid of choking on a cashew. And not just any cashew, a free cashew.
Come on, that's so Brooks. It's that perfect blend of absurdity and relatability. We all have those weird irrational fears, those anxieties that pop up out of nowhere. Brooks just has this way of tapping into that and making it hilarious.
He makes you feel like it's okay to be a little fucked up, to be anxious, to be scared of a free cashew. We're all in this together, man.
Exactly. And that's what makes him so brilliant. He's able to take these very human experiences, these vulnerabilities that we all have, and turn them into something that's both funny and insightful.
All right, we could keep going all day, but we got to wrap this up. Any final thoughts for our listeners?
If you haven't seen any of Albert Brooks's films, you're seriously missing out. Do yourself a favor and check them out. You'll laugh, you'll think, and you might even learn a thing or two about yourself along the way.
He's a comedic genius, a master of his craft, and his legacy will continue to inspire and entertain for generations to come. So, to all you magnificent bastards out there, go forth and laugh your asses off. That's it for this deep dive into the world of Albert Brooks.
Yeah, it's remarkable how he's managed to stay relevant and funny for so long.
So true.
You know, most comedians, they burn bright for a short time, then they fizzle out. But Brooks, he's like a goddamn comet. He just keeps streaking across the comedy sky, leaving a trail of laughter in his wake.
It's like he's tapped into some kind of comedic fountain of youth. Or maybe he's just a vampire, sucking the funny out of life itself.
Maybe, who knows? But whatever it is, it's working.
For sure. All right, so we've talked about his films, his stand-up, his voice acting. But what really sets Brooks apart is his unique perspective on the world.
He's got this incredible ability to see the absurdity in everyday life, the things that we all take for granted. He turns them into comedic gold.
Right. He's like a comedic anthropologist studying the strange and hilarious rituals of human behavior.
Exactly. And he's not afraid to push the boundaries to make us uncomfortable, to challenge our assumptions.
Yeah, he's not afraid to go to those dark, uncomfortable places that most comedians wouldn't even touch.
And that's what makes him so brilliant. He forces us to confront the absurdity of it all, to laugh at ourselves, to find humor in the most unexpected places.
And he does it all with his incredible wit and intelligence. He's a master of language, a wordsmith who can craft a joke with surgical precision.
He's also a master of timing. He knows how to build suspense, how to set up a punchline, how to deliver a joke with the perfect deadpan expression.
Yeah, his delivery is impeccable. He can say the most outrageous things with a completely straight face. And that just makes it even funnier.
Absolutely.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Albert Brooks, what are some key takeaways that our listeners should keep in mind?
Well, first and foremost, I think Brooks teaches us that it's okay to be different, to embrace your quirks, your anxieties, your neuroses, because those are the things that make you unique, that make you funny.
Right. Don't be afraid to be yourself, even if that means being a little bit fucked up.
Exactly. Second, I think Brooks reminds us that humor can be a powerful tool for coping with the absurdities of life. When the world feels like it's going to shit, laughter can be a lifeline.
Yeah, it's a way to find light in the darkness, to connect with others, to remind ourselves that we're not alone in this crazy journey.
And finally, I think Brooks shows us that it's possible to be both funny and smart. You don't have to dumb down your humor to appeal to a wider audience. You can be intelligent, insightful, and still make people laugh their asses off.
He's a true original, a comedic genius who has left an indelible mark on the world of entertainment. And he's still going strong, which is pretty damn impressive for a guy who's been making us laugh for over 5 decades.
Absolutely.
All right, that's it for our deep dive into the world of Albert Brooks. Thanks for joining us, you magnificent bastards. Go forth and laugh your asses off.